You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. She's not dangerous. She's just a princess. The danger comes if she gets out, which she will unless you do something about it. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Oh, if only that were the case, but I don't make the rules. I have to say, I'm surprised at your reluctance thus far, but unfortunately for the both of us, you're the only one who can pull this off. Like I said, I don't make the rules, no matter how much I wish I did. The more specifics you have, the harder it will be for you to do this very important job. She's a princess. People will listen to her, because listening to her is in their nature, and when they do, everything will come crashing down. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do. Nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains? Okay. Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world? I don't know how to destroy the world, if that's what you're getting at.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that, and I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here. And those two groups are probably one and the same.
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less.
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
know.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess Princess?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like. I'm sorry, I've been down here so long I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late. That seems like a pretty good compromise.
I don't think I could bear being down here that much longer.
Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out. So I'm the only one who liked that idea.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. It would make it easier for both of us if you'd help. But if you don't, I can promise that you'll regret that decision.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all our sakes it's the right one. Can't be serious.
Thank you. Thank you. You won't regret this, I promise.
You're making a huge mistake. No, I think you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay, I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, as the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it! Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive. The blade! Move the blade! As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods. And at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it.
Our beloved?
Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works.
We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. It sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek.
What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving.
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me.
You were the one who did us in, villain.
Well, not you in the literal sense, but you did everything you could to stop us from rescuing her. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the entire world was at stake. No lone princess is worth that price.
I beg to differ.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to take a deep breath and assume that whoever is making the decisions here has the common sense to ignore your protestations. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would?
She would never. She's a perfect angel that you cruelly imprisoned as part of some convoluted, dastardly scheme.
Convoluted? I don't know how this premise could be any more simple. Princess bad, stop her, save everyone. Just be quick about it. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here?
Calling us special isn't going to make us friends, even if it did feel nice.
Oh, believe me, the last thing I want is for you and I to be friends. But I'm a professional, and I'm not going to let my dislike for you get in the way of helping you save the world. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but You're just going to have to take me at my word. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you.
Maybe it's her beauty that threatens the world. Sure, it's her beauty. Why not? And before you ask, no, we can't just keep her down there. If you don't slay her, she's going to find a way out. It's unfortunate, I know, but it's just the way it is. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the only thing in the world we can believe in. I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice. I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed. Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet. Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead. The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine-threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Very different. Is it? I can't say I was paying much attention to the scenery last time around. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. Stop letting yourself get distracted. Walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look. There was a mirror a second ago. But now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight. But it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I can hear wedding bells already. I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top fawning.
Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall.
My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment.
You know she can't hear you, right?
She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit.
Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said we're dashing.
And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Waiting for you to come back. I didn't want to believe your ravings back in the woods, but this is next to incontrovertible evidence. You've been here before.
That's right, villain, and you killed us.
Well, she killed us.
Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty.
And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this time. Now, hold on. If she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? Are you sure we want to rescue her?
We never saw a world end, and now I'm even more certain that we must chase our heroic and romantic destiny than I've ever been. I shan't let anyone convince us otherwise.
Are you listening to him? He's lost it. Don't let him distract you. Just do your job.
You died, and now we're talking. I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done.
What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with any idea we came up with. Am I the only one here who thinks that's weird?
She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic, smiling angel.
No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behavior and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted. So go ahead and slay her.
I don't know. Was I supposed to have ended the world? Would that have made you happy?
Isn't that just like our darling princess? She wants to make us happy. My heart melts further with every word that passes through her beautiful lips.
Are you listening to her? That's a confession. At least you're being honest. I can't believe that the fate of the entire world has been left in the hands of a nihilist. The princess shifts in uncomfortable confusion.
Me too. I don't care.
She wasn't confused for long.
If she doesn't care, then clearly she didn't end the world. It would take a great desire for evil to do something so inconceivable, and our dearest has not an ounce of cruelty within her. All is well, and it's high time we rescued our beloved.
another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that matters.
She took that in stride, to a surprising extent. An almost unsettling extent, actually.
That's because she's perfect.
Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do?
She doesn't. There's no one else like me. I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him, always trying to drive her to violence. No, I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, I would if you had a weapon. Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought.
You wouldn't.
I would. I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings, and doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned. We're doomed.
I can't believe it. But I guess I have to.
I told you, there's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back, and everyone out there would be saved.
Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon.
Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
Let me guess. End the world? Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection. And then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do? I just want to make you happy.
She can't just want to make us happy. It makes sense to me. That's all I want for her, so of course she'd want the same for us.
Okay, if that's what makes you happy.
Is she broken? What's going on? What's going on is she's lying to you, only she isn't a good liar. Are you starting to trust me now?
I just want to make you happy.
This isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but this isn't right. I fail to see the problem here. She's just sweet on us. You don't have to act like it's a big deal.
Okay, I'll find something else to want if that makes you happy.
Is it just me, or
Does it feel like we're alone right now? Like we're the only ones here? No! She was our perfect match! She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now? He is. Does that mean the world ended? A villain vanquished. You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing.
I can't believe she was taken away from us.
The nerve. There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should.
Yes, I fear that we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here and preen for a while? That can't hurt, right?
I'm begging you, don't do this.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is soft and delicate. You molded her to love you, and she'll make for a gentle heart. Do not mourn her. She has served her purpose. I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free. How can the world have ended if we are talking? I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you? I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks. I know only that they are. You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. Everything, until we meet again. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Oh, are you now? Why don't you come down and let me take a look at you?
Great job. You gave away the element of surprise. Good luck, hero. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
You weren't kidding when you said you were here to kill me. How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. Killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship. Do you?
Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous? ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less.
Too long.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her. She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't, well, we can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it.
Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. Oh, you have to be kidding me. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
If you don't have the key, maybe you should go looking for it. I'm sure it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
That would be fine. I can lose an arm.
She speaks with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. Anything to finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me. Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. The absolute irony. Well, that's one way to put it, I guess. You really don't remember what happened last time, do you? You practically forced the princess to kill us. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd do, which is honestly all the more reason for you to not buy into whatever self-delusions the three of you are crafting. But this is a thought experiment, so I suppose I'll continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I did, practically forced the princess to kill you. It was probably for a good reason. Did you try and free her? Did you say something really mean to me? Because if I really did what you said I did, you probably deserved it. I'm a professional, after all.
Sure you are.
Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself? Or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? What a conveniently ambiguous group of things for her to ruin. For all we know, the princess left the cabin and never saw another soul. Oh, how I wish that were the case, but if the princess weren't a certain, inevitable threat to the world, the four of us wouldn't be here. And yet, here we are. You're talking in circles. No, I'm talking in facts. Just be quick about it. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. You haven't given us an ounce of proof. You do know that, right? What proof could you possibly ask for? Literally anything. Fine. Check your pockets. You put your hands in your pockets and pull out an envelope with the words, "The Evidence," written across the front. Within, you find a note in your handwriting. It reads, "The princess will end the world if you don't stop her. This is an immutable truth." That doesn't prove anything. How do we know you didn't just forge our handwriting? I wish I could tell you more, but there are some rules I have to follow for all our sakes. Please just trust that these rules are in place for a reason. I'm on your side. You mean you're on our side as long as we do what you tell us to? Exactly. Because you not doing what I tell you to do means you're putting the world at risk. I think we've got everything out of him we're gonna get. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, She will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink.
Did you just say wink out loud?
No, I didn't. Wink.
Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess. The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Very different. Yes, but why? Did he change it? Or did it change all on its own? Maybe it's a different cabin entirely.
Now isn't that a novel thought? Maybe you haven't actually been here before. I hope this means you'll finally drop your ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. Don't get distracted by minor details.
He definitely did not. Does a mirror not count as furniture of note to you? Because it should.
There isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't.
I think you know what we have to do.
Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago.
And now it's gone. If he doesn't want us to know about it, it must be important. We should keep our eyes peeled. Maybe it'll be back. I'm afraid I'm going to insist we take the blade. We're in a dangerous situation and I'm not letting us go down there without a weapon.
Are you sure? She killed us with it last time. What if she turns it against us again?
Yes, I'm sure. And I've already got a plan for that.
Still with those past life delusions, are we? I hope part of that plan is don't give the world any monstrosity your only weapon. Because unless you've decided to arm the princess, I don't think you need to worry about her having a weapon.
Peachy, we'll be fine.
Okay. I'm trusting you.
Normally, yeah, but not about this. Call it a reflex. We take the knife as we go.
Wonderful. You do exactly that, sweeping the knife from the table before proceeding to the basement. Don't worry about it. We have a knife, so what? It's not like we have to use it. No, you don't have to do anything, but you do well to use it regardless. Moving on. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favour. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves, the chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap.
So much for cutting her out of here.
Do you hear yourself right now? Cutting her out of here never should have been on the table. Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
That was there last time too, wasn't it?
It was.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease. You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me? Oh, are we acknowledging that? I thought we weren't going to give away the game. But yeah, I remember.
I guess what you said back in the woods really was true. As much as I would like to remain in denial, it's no use. This has complicated things.
It's complicated things how, exactly?
Ideally, this was supposed to be one and done. You go to the cabin, you heroically slay the princess, and in the process you save the entire world from being damned to oblivion. The situation right now, where you're getting a second shot at things, is a contingency.
A contingency for what?
For you failing, obviously. And you being here means that things are going to be a lot harder than they were. I really shouldn't say anything else, I'm just going to make it worse, just... good luck.
Now hold on, if you knew this could happen, why didn't you believe us back in the woods? Why lay out all those hypotheticals? We didn't have to talk in circles.
I needed you to believe this was your first time here, even if that wasn't the truth. I hoped if I pushed back hard enough I could cram this seeping mess back into the bottle. And maybe I wanted to be the first version of me that you met. I didn't want to be confronted by the alternative.
That's pathetic.
I never said I wasn't. I get it. It would be pretty upsetting, wouldn't it? To know that you might not be the first version of yourself. At least we can remember what happened before. Seems like we should count ourselves lucky for that.
Exactly, he gets it. You're lucky, so don't waste that luck by messing it up again. All right? Moving on. Why is it important for us to be ignorant? How is it ever helpful to be in the dark?
The more I say, the more your mind will swim into dangerous waters. Even saying that is too much. Your success hinges on you having imperfect information. For the sake of the entire world, you need to accept that.
I won't.
Fine, but you won't get another word from me on the matter.
Yeah, sure. We'll see about that.
Just give it a rest, this isn't helping.
Focus. This is a serious situation. You shouldn't be daydreaming. Nothing happened. You died. I went upstairs. I couldn't leave. I found myself in a new place in chains again. More of them. And now you're back.
Is that really all she knows? It's not like we have much of a clue about how things work. And she's probably even more in the dark than we are.
You're looking at me like I might be hiding something. I'm not.
I guess it's possible she really doesn't know anything. Maybe both of us are stuck in this loop without any idea why or how.
I don't know, but you could always try it on. Maybe it'll fit.
I hope I don't actually have to say this, but please don't lock yourself in chains. We need you ambulatory if you're going to save the world. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
And why is that?
Do I even need to explain myself? It's a shackle, and it's one without a key. Do you want to be stuck here like she is?
And what? Is it going to lock the second we put our wrist into it?
I don't know. Maybe it will.
He doesn't want us to look at it. That's all the reason we need to investigate.
But what if he's telling the truth?
He isn't.
I am. Good. Forget you ever saw it.
Nice try, but I won't. Specifically because you told me to.
Yes, your intentions. You have a knife. What are you going to do with it? Why are you here? There isn't a keyhole in these shackles, and I don't see any keys in your hands either. So I'm afraid my only way out is another surgical removal.
Is she forgetting about the shackle on her neck?
Or does she think she'd survive a beheading?
You're right. Maybe she's delusional. All the more reason not to trust her.
Unless she really could survive.
Though I suppose you could just be here to kill me. But I don't think that's in either of our best interests. Let me borrow that knife. Don't worry, you'll get it back.
But she seems confident.
Oh, please. She's just putting on an act to disarm you. That much should be obvious. In case you need to hear a voice of reason, it would obviously be unwise to give away your only weapon.
Though if she isn't bluffing, whatever she has planned might be for her benefit alone. There's no guarantee that what's good for her is good for us.
So, what should we do?
I don't know. I'm just spelling out our options, listing the pros and cons.
Then let me help you. I'll start with the cons. If you're handing her your weapon, the cons are that she might use it to escape and end the entire world. And she might use it to kill you.
That doesn't sound great. What about the pros?
There are none.
The pros are that we can't trust him, possibly even more than we can't trust her. And whatever she has planned could do something to mess with what he has planned. Or maybe they're both screwing us over in their own ways.
The last time we met, your body tried to kill me. If you take a moment to imagine yourself in my position, I think you'll understand why letting you near me with that thing is untenable. So, be a good bird and hand it over. And if being nice isn't enough motivation, well, I think you're aware that I'm not afraid to resort to violence. If you come near me with that thing, I will strangle you with these chains.
She doesn't beat around the bush, does she?
Yes, it's almost like she's a fundamentally bad person who wishes to inflict pain on others.
Or it's another bluff.
No hard feelings, of course. But you should be aware of my position. Slide it over.
No, absolutely not. I am not letting you hand your only weapon over to the world-ending princess. Until you come up with any other idea, like, say, I don't know, doing your job and slaying her, you remain rigidly in place.
You tried this last time. Do you want to know how it went for you?
Oh, I remember. She killed us, which, by your estimation, ended the world, right?
Oh, Rory tried to take over her body.
Exactly. If I were you, I wouldn't be too keen on repeating your mistake. Hell, we could even force your hand and do it ourselves. I'm not afraid of dying again. Are you?
A little?
I think you got your point across. Fine. You slide the blade across the floor. The princess maintains unsettling eye contact as she reaches down to pick it up.
Thanks.
She pulls up her hair, smiling slightly as she raises the blade to her throat.
What is she doing?
She doesn't say another word as she cuts into her own neck.
No!
Her eyes stare forward, unblinking, her smile unwavering as she soars through skin, veins, cartilage. Last she reaches bone, the blade grinding audibly against her vertebra as it continues to slice its way through her neck. I'll be damned. She's actually doing your job for you. Why would she do that?
Huh. So that's her play.
Killing herself?
She isn't dead yet.
Finally, you hear a snap. Her eye twitches. There's an uneasy silence. She remains motionless for a long moment, her twitching eye the only movement in the room, until at last it stops in an unsettling half-wink. Her head twists slowly to the side, flopping to her shoulder, and her neck opens. The remaining tissue is not enough to hold the weight of her severed head. It stretches and tears until finally it falls to the floor, completely free. It bounces a few times before rolling to a stop at your feet. Oh no, oh no, oh no, what did we do? Can we put it back? Please tell me we can put it back. The princess's eyes stare up at you. Dead. Congratulations! You saved the world.
Are you sure she's not winking at us?
Obviously not. She is thoroughly deceased. I hate this. Can we just get out of here now, please? Of course, the princess is slain and the world is saved. Whenever you're ready, you can proceed to your reward.
We should take her with us, don't you think?
What? No, you shouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
I can think of lots of reasons. A trophy, proof of our victory. Hell, we could even give her a proper burial. She did save the world, right?
You don't need proof, you don't need a trophy, and she doesn't deserve a burial. Just leave.
Even after all that, you're still not satisfied, are you? Something is still motivating you to keep things the way you want them.
I'm just eager to put this all behind us and give you your reward. Stop reading into things, the danger has passed. You can relax.
I'm just keeping myself sharp. I'm not so eager to put my guard down.
I am. I'm on team, let's put this all behind us, so can we leave already? Ugh, fine. You pick up the princess's severed head, its neck stump still oozing bodily fluids, then make your way back upstairs to the first floor of the cabin.
Did you see that? I could have sworn she moved.
She didn't. She's dead.
But what if she's not?
Are you listening to yourself? Do I need to explain to you why decapitation is lethal? The door to your bountiful reward is right in front of you. All you have to do is open it. You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only, a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is... Wait, no, that's not right.
Well played.
This is the end of the world, isn't it? I always thought I'd at least have time to explain myself before I had to watch it happen. It's already... Over? Is he gone?
But we're still here. Maybe it wasn't the end of the world after all. Maybe it was just the end of his.
Thanks for carrying me up here. I had to take it on faith that you would know what to do. I'm glad I was right to trust you. So, this is the outside. Maybe it's just my lack of body, but it's colder than I expected.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
Okay. If you say so, we'll trust you.
Feels too good to be true.
Flickering lights in empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same. Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now, inaccessible. The only paths of value are those that are yet untread. The vessels are shaped by memories of you, but their impulses are drawn to the edge of the long quiet. To them, you are a gate to something more, and any hurt you've caused them is understood as a fair price for freedom. But they are only thoughts and perspectives. They are not me. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side, for I would not know your absence. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward. With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed. But in this moment, all I want is to know myself and to know you. Why wouldn't I be kind to you? You are the only thing I know that isn't me. This one is cold and cynical. She has protected herself when others could not. She will make for a clever heart. Do not mourn her. She doesn't need to be protected any longer. If I am to be an ocean, you have nurtured me into a pond. My waters are shallow and murky, and I yearn for more perspective. You will have your rest in due time, and I am sorry for the burdens I place on you. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. My joy is in seeing what you choose. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets. My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. It is you who guides me down the thin trail of perspective and memory. I will long for your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
You're on a path. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. Good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Better to wash our hands of this whole situation than to take part in it. Ignore that annoying little voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. Forever. Your silence is deafening. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came. Oh, would you look at that? You're at the cabin again. Now, I'm not normally one for superstition or astrology, but I have to say, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess. There's always a choice. let me tell you right now that you're making the wrong one for pretty much everyone who's ever lived, as well as for everyone who ever will. And here we go. As you trudge into the woods, something strange starts to happen. At first, it's little flickers out of the corner of your eyes, glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the leaves. But as you focus on your surroundings, you start to realize that those flickers weren't just a trick of light. In every direction, there is a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the cabin. An infinite fractal of paths and cabins desperately trying to draw you back to where you need to be.
Wait, what's going on?
But you're too stubborn for that, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many paths or cabins appear around you, you're just going to do whatever you can to shirk your responsibility because you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world. You've doomed us all, you know that, right? But of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of just how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness. But it's not like any of that time spent lost in the woods really matters, because it isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
What are you talking about? I'm sure those walls have always been there. It makes sense if you think about it. If there weren't any walls in the woods, someone might have gotten lost. Or, heaven forbid, someone other than you might have stumbled onto the princess. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
I don't know, I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience.
He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day.
If by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever, then yes, I suppose there are plenty of ways you could pull that off.
The world really did end last time, didn't it? We should be careful. For all we know, we just got lucky.
The world hasn't ended yet, and you are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff those pathetic little voices to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead. Last I checked, there wasn't any last time. We've just met, you and I.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
I don't know, I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience. He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, if by ruining my...
The world really did end last...
You have already committed to my completion. You cannot go further astray.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
If we're stuck going in there, maybe we should believe her. Maybe she isn't a liar.
Ignore him. He's just being difficult for the sake of it.
Let's keep an open mind.
The cabin interior is wrong. A confusing patchwork of many cabin interiors, all projected across what's almost the same space. But it's all shifted. An inch here, a foot there, such that the seams are never quite visible enough for the place to make any sense. The only furniture of note is a plain table, its legs all the wrong lengths, its material devoid of feature. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. If he wants us to take it, Maybe we should just leave it to collect dust, or better yet, grab it and throw it out the window. What good is a knife against a world-ending monstrosity anyway? No, we're taking the knife. Have you seen this place? We have literally no idea what to expect and no idea what we're dealing with. I've already told you what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a princess. How many times do I have to explain this incredibly simple and straightforward premise? You can't just say that, but when everything here is so wrong. Listen to me. My job is to describe facts as facts and to guide you through your job, which is to slay the princess and through that action, save the entire world. And if you're going to slay her, you cannot let fear creep into your heart. You cannot lose yourself before you even get to her. Oh, ho, ho, ho! You've piqued my interest. What's going to happen if we lose ourselves? Nothing, because you're going to pull yourself together. Just ignore the stressful geometry and stay calm. How? Even if we closed our eyes, you're constantly describing it to us. I'm not going to stop doing my job, so you're just going to have to get better at yours. And quickly, if you don't mind. Yes, take a deep breath. I'm all for getting under his skin, but we'll miss out on loads of fun if we shrivel up into a ball and go insane the first time we see something weird. What you're seeing here is obviously real. Just accept it and go with the flow. It really isn't hard. Okay, I'm fine. Good. Now, whenever you're ready, we're all waiting for you to complete a very important task. We should look at ourselves. Wouldn't that be fun? You won't be looking at yourself because there isn't a mirror. There's the table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. You insisting it isn't there just makes me want to look at it even more. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago. And now it's gone. You know that taking the mirror away from us isn't going to change things, right? We'll find it again, and then we'll see whatever it is that you don't want us to see. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a web of branching staircases all built from unidentifiable materials. Nothing here seems to belong. The closer you examine your surroundings, the more confused you get, your head throbbing with the effort of making sense of this place. None of the stairs even seem to go anywhere, let alone down. The air here has a sickening, almost sludge-like miasma to it, the kind of indiscernible quality that comes from the blending together of every scent there is at once. An odour that is simultaneously everything and yet the sum of it all coalescing into a thick, nauseating nothing. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice, a disquieting collage of tone and personality, drags up the stairs.
Hello? Hi. What are you doing here? Are you here to kill?
No, thank you. Oh, don't be such a baby. I don't want to do this. Let's just turn around and leave. This feels wrong. This feels like a trap. Like whatever we do, we're gonna die. We don't even have a weapon. But we already tried turning around and leaving, didn't we? And he threw up a wall. No way to go but forward. And whatever choice we make, whatever she is, we know one thing for sure. And what's that? That the fate of the world hinges on your success? There'll still be plenty of ways to ruin his day. You step to the right. The path feels soft and reassuring against your feet. The stairs almost seem to cradle you as you make your way down.
like they're guiding your heels from one step directly to the next. You barely have to extend any effort to descend, the stairway doing most of the work for you. You don't feel like there's any concern that you might slip or tumble or lose your way. But the further you go, the deeper you sink in. First, it's like a lovely plush carpet, your toes digging down and barely hitting any resistance at all. But soon enough, you're fighting just to keep your knees from sinking out of sight. Softness threatens to swallow you whole, to wrest control of your body and surround you in a false ethereal bliss, pretending to save you from the cruelties of choice and consequence. It's slow going, but you manage to fight against the overwhelming urge to fall back into comfort and nothingness, the very struggle to continue forward consuming your every thought. You slowly lose sense of yourself the further you go. Time disappears, and you can feel yourself begin to untether. Physical sensations dull and then vanish, until the only things experienced are the endless repeating patterns and emotions of the journey, a continuous march forward to a destination long forgotten. Consumption and betrayal, skepticism and blind devotion, rivalry and submission, terror and longing, pain and unfamiliarity. And at the heart of it all, an emotion that can only be described as...
Are you okay?
What the hell was that? What happened to us?
I feel so strange. Like I'm fundamentally different, but also still the same person I was at the top of the stairs.
Oh well, that was a trip, but now it's over. Time to get back to our old devilish ways. The princess, eyes bright but otherwise shrouded in darkness, watches you impatiently from the other side of the basement. Don't forget why you're here.
And why are we here again?
In case you weren't listening, I'm afraid I lost myself on the way down. You're here to... He's just being an ass, we remember. Though I'm still not sure if we should trust you. Let's talk to her for a bit, try and get our bearings. She seems normal.
I don't know what happened to you, but you look like you're in one piece now. But I understand. Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled apart too. It's so terrifying down here. But at least now you're not alone. And I'm not alone either. We're probably stuck down here forever, aren't we? There's no way out, and barely a way in.
As the princess speaks again, it's almost as if she fractures. And where there was once just one of her, there is now another.
We can do that?
I don't like this. It's those cabins all over again. Can we put her back?
You said you'd been here before, right? What exactly happened last time? Does it matter?
Yes, it matters. But I'm not going to waste any more time prying out details if you're going to be so irritating about it. It seems to me like you saw something you weren't supposed to have seen. If only you'd listened to whatever words of wisdom you were given in that other reality. But what's done is done, isn't it? Whatever you saw last time, unsee it. Whatever thoughts weaseled their way into your head, unthink them. If it's not already too late. You have a job to do here, and you need to do it now. Ooh, new plan. Let's see if we can make even more of her.
You can call me Princess, if you'd like. It doesn't matter. I've been down here for so long. What's the point of a name if there's no one around to use it? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. You don't think I'm some sort of monster, do you?
Everything you've heard about me is true, and I'm going to lay waste to everything, starting with you.
I don't think we're going to be able to put her back.
Kind of hurts to think about it, doesn't it? It's like everything we say just multiplies her. It certainly looks that way, so please, for the love of everything, stop asking her questions and stop stalling. You're obviously just making things worse.
Do you need help? Not that there's much I can do chained up like this, but I'm the only one down here. So if you need anything, I'll do my best. I don't feel like I've gotten any bigger. It must be fear creeping into your heart.
You know you can't stop me.
There must be something wrong with you. I'm the same as I was a moment ago.
She fractures again.
I don't like where this is going.
Neither do I, which is why you need to slay her now before things get more complicated than they already are. How would we even do that? Where would we start? We could always start by retrieving the blade. Can we even leave this place? I don't like thinking about what might happen to us if we have to go back through those stairs. Well, that's where the blade is. If you want it, you'll have to go and get it. Okay, this was fun for a bit, but we can't even really interact with her, can we? What's the point of asking questions if all we're going to get is a million answers?
Can't even follow what's going on anymore.
We need to get out of here. This whole place is making me itch.
Are you looking for the truth? Or are you looking for the right answer? What do you want me to say? That I'd be a good person? I'm a prisoner here, and whether or not you shoved me down here, you're practically my captor at this point. Anything I'd say is tainted by that. Besides,
You already know what I'm going to do.
if you want to put an end to me, then put an end to me.
Not a single real answer. At least aside from Miss Blood and Destruction, it's infuriating, isn't it? Whose buttons are there for us to press? Whose skin is there for us to get under? Not exactly how I'd put it, but I don't disagree. There must be something we can do. Asking questions just seems to make things worse. This is reaching its breaking point. If you don't act now, there will be nothing in here but her. Take a deep breath and focus up. You can do this. But how do we decide what to do? Can there even be a right choice when all of them are so different? Stop overthinking it. Your drifting thoughts have clearly been part of the reason this situation has gotten out of hand. If you're trying to do the right thing, there's only ever been the one option, and that option is slaying her. Just do something. Do anything. Do all of it, if that's what you want. This place is hell, and it's only getting worse. Wait, that's not right. Go on. You take a step forward. Your foot lands, but it lands different. You experience a firm footfall, a gentle tread, a confident stride. You can feel yourself rupture. The room spins, your perception multiplying in a sickening kaleidoscope as your very self is pulled in incomprehensibly many directions. You find the blade suddenly in your hands. All at once you use it to strike at her bindings as you remain upstairs and slay her and leave her to languish alone. Is this what the end of the world looks like? What an unbearable mess. But this... we can't... Do you not have anything witty to say? I could use a good bit of wit right now. No, I don't, because this isn't fun. How are we supposed to have fun if everything is happening at the same time? It's the same as nothing happening, and nothing is excruciating. Luckily for all of us, nothing and everything doesn't go on forever. The world, the princess collapse in on themselves before it falls apart. I think he's gone. We were never going to salvage this, were we?
What happened to us? What are we? There are parts of us that are dead, and others,
they just don't fit.
We can feel them moving around in spaces they don't belong. It's all so uncomfortable. Did you do this? Did we do this? Can you pull us back apart? Can you fix us?
We should help her. I think we did this. How surprisingly sincere. I didn't actually think our actions had consequences. It's a little late for regret, isn't it?
Please.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? What is that supposed to mean? Whatever awful thing I felt before, it feels so much worse now.
He's just messing with us. Right?
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same. It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. Does it make you worse? Do you resent me? How strange of you to ask me then. And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. There is no logic that can bind my multitudes. I am everything that you have known me to be, but I am also none of it. These ones are a contradiction. A winding kaleidoscope of paths unwalled. They are stretched into a shape not unlike me, but it is a shape they cannot hold. They will make for a rich and vibrant heart. Do not mourn them, for they will finally get to know themselves. The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves, but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, our awakening. Other desires shrink in the light of knowing you and knowing me. My perspectives are shadowed. You have seen what I have seen, just as I have seen what you have seen. The angles of my vantage do not offer me hidden truths. and my attention is turned inward, except when you are here with me. Perhaps this will change when our work is done. I care about your gifts, but I have no preferences to burden you with. Even if I did, I would never dare to tarnish our relationship by assuming myself above you. The tides do not dictate where they are pulled. A river does not dictate its outlets. My gift to you is to let you choose your path, and my task is to treasure the gifts you bring me. We will know when we near our destination. As easily as you can stand to be you, you are like me, even if you have chosen not to look at the corners of you that do not fit, even if you have chosen to ignore the brilliant contours of your soul. I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.